Hey guys, John here. So, not too long ago in my Discord, we were talking about how to make a music box, and I put in the recipe. And then, as reading it, I was like, this is probably better made as a video. So, there's a couple core components with the music box. So, let's kind of go over this here. So, as always, let's go to menu, initialize, and let's start from a fresh preset. We have something kind of like this here. Now, we're starting on a saw wave. Now, first things first, let's bring out everything so it's just a sine wave. And for the initial sound, we want to have a little bit of the next harmonic in here. And let's pitch this up maybe an octave. Something kind of like that for now. Now, the first thing with this oscillator is we want to have a little bit of pitch modulation. So for that, we can use a mod envelope. So let's drag our mod envelope to the transpose. And if you're an Avenger, this is going to be the transpose steppy, but we can click this down here, go to oscillator 1, and then go down to the general, and let's just change it to the regular transpose, and maybe give something like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8. A lot of these settings we can kind of fiddle with a little bit later. So we have something like this, but obviously this is way too slow. So let's kind of bring this pretty tight here. Maybe bring this point down. Let's bring our keyboard up an octave for now. So we have a little bit of a slide there, so that's kind of cool for now. And let's bring up our amp release. But we don't want any sustain here, so let's bring that down. And adjust our decay accordingly. So we kind of have this type of envelope already of what a music box would sound like. Now that slide, this pitch modulation might be a little bit much. We can come back to it once you start building upon this. So this is essentially the first oscillator. So let's just call this one fundamental or something like that, or fundament, whatever. So now the next one, we're going to basically make the metallic type of sound for this guy. So let's mute this one for now. And we have this oscillator, which is just a saw wave for now. So we can maybe bring this one up an octave. Now this is going to be kind of where I guess the tonality, the creative metallic sound for this patch comes into play. So again, if you're an Avenger, instead of harmonic, let's go to bin where we have a little bit more control. Let's zoom out and let's kind of just zero most of this whole thing out. So when we play something, there's really nothing going on. Now, as we zoom in, we can see that we have the lighter vertical bars and the darker ones. So for this one, we kind of want something a little less harmonic. We're kind of going for some inharmonic because it's a metallic sound. So we can kind of just randomly select some stuff in here, something like that, maybe between these. And we have something here. Right? We can even turn this up a little bit. You have something like that. Now, this is going to be the spot once you have your patch kind of together, you can kind of go in and start editing these different partials to kind of really shape the metallic sound that you want. That might be kind of okay. Maybe I might bring these down a little bit. We're kind of more so looking for the upper harmonic. So once we remove this mute here and kind of add both of them now, we have kind of that metallic sound also in the background. And again, maybe this mod envelope is a little bit too much. So maybe we can tighten this up so it happens a little bit quicker. So we have that. Okay, so the next thing, I guess we'll label this as metal, something like that. And then we're going to add another oscillator. And the whole point of this third one is to represent the transient, the click that happens once we start hitting our notes. So we can go over to saw, and there's a lot of cool ones under the special samples category. There's a lot of these different types of clicks that we can go through. There's organic noises if we want to go. There's some crazy ones here, but we're going to stick with the attacks here. And the one I really like for this patch, I think it's 42. This one right here. And if we pitch this up a little bit, let's mute these other guys here. This might be kind of okay. Something like that. So it's just a quick transient to kind of blend in with all of these here. And again, maybe that, maybe this in this mod envelope, maybe that's a little bit too much. Maybe make it happen a little bit quicker. Maybe bring this down, maybe dial in this instead of 8. Maybe we'll go something smaller like 5 or 7. Something kind of like that. So we have the basic recipe now. And really, for this type of sound, we could add some extra delays if we wanted to be fancy. But again, I guess let's keep label. Let's put transient here so we know what we're doing. And then here in the effects, we can do this on the master effects. This effects really doesn't matter in this point. We can add some reverb, and maybe the pre-delay, we can bring this down a little bit, something like that. And maybe bring up our mix and see how that sounds. And from here, this is kind of just refining. So maybe want a little bit more release, maybe some more decay here. So we kind of have that here. We can dial in how much of this metal we want. We can also even go back to the editor and really change how this metallic sounds. Maybe remove these entirely. So we have that. So now we can maybe start doing a little bit of filtering. So maybe bring this down here, give us some filter modulation. Because we want to hear those high frequencies, but we don't want them to just ring out the entire time. We want a little bit of dampening. And how fast this happens, maybe it's a little bit too quick. We can bring up the decay, maybe change up the curve a little bit. And then maybe mix these different too. Maybe this metal is a little bit too loud. We have something like that. So let's say we want to be more fancy. So let's bring down this reverb here a little bit, maybe a couple spaces, just in case we want to add some more delays. But right click here, let's add a delay, and let's kind of take a lot of that low end out of the delay, or the high end and the low end. So have something kind of like that. And there you go. That's for pretty much the basic recipe of this. There's all sorts of different little things you can change out, like the transient. Maybe you want something a little bit different. You can have the metal sound that you can change out these harmonics to make them sound a little bit more to your liking, something kind of like that. Maybe change the transpose on this. I kind of like that as well. So up 2 octaves for this one. Something that like that might be kind of cool. And then for the fundamental, this one's probably the easiest one, depending on how much of the next harmonic that you would like in here. So yeah, so there you go. Try to remake this, and you can do this really in any synth that you want to. But anyway, that's kind of the main basic recipes. Fundamental, the metallic sound, the transient, mix those accordingly, add some nice reverb. Don't forget this pitch modulation right here. Even though it's quick, it's a little bit of modulation. This thing is really kind of important to get that sound in for the music box. So there you go. Hopefully you learned something. Try to remake the patch, and yeah, thank you for watching.